talk about relationships, devoted, supportive, and loyal. That's just me. Girls, call me 021. Wow. Hey all, Choiboy here. Welcome to another video. Today we're gonna start off with a new video of a new series, okay? It's called MBTI is Science. Before you get triggered, it's not science, you know? I just named it like that because it's fun, you know? I don't know, I couldn't come up with a better name for the series, but it's something I really wanted to talk about because I love talking about MBTI. It's quite a trendy thing to talk about nowadays amongst Koreans, especially if you're meeting someone for the first time. It's a great icebreaker, and that's all it is, kind of. I guess some people do take it a bit seriously and some don't really care at all. Like just back in the days, Koreans used to use blood types to kind of assume people's personalities. Like A type is like, I don't know, shy, timid and introverted, and B is like outgoing, bad boy vibes, and you know, gets angry easily or something like that, and AB is like crazy or genius. You're like one of the two. You know, there was a lot of crazy things going on, and I don't know why Koreans like this, but I also do agree that it is quite interesting. So I guess I am Korean after all. Either way, MBTI is somewhat a more relevant way to kind of assume or kind of categorize people's personalities. It has 16 main boxes. For people who don't know what MBTI is, it's also known as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. If that doesn't ring a bell, it's also called the 16 personalities test that you can do online, which you may have done before because of work, or your friend made you do it, or you just came across it on the internet. It was quite a thing back a few years ago. I don't know how, I just come across it, and it just suddenly became a really trendy thing to talk about in Korea. So I kind of got into it, I don't know, maybe in my mid 2010s. So I probably did my first test back in 2014 or 15, somewhere around there. I think, I don't really remember. I used to be an ENFJ. Then after I started working, I started to become a ESFJ. There was a depressed moment, like a depressed Jack Choi, you know, phase around the pandemic days and the lockdown days. I was like a INFJ at one point as well, so it's quite interesting. But now I'm a solid ESFJ, so I don't think it's going to change from there for quite some time. It's quite solid, and I think I fit a lot of the traits of an ESFJ, also known as a console. I'm like one of those guys that takes MBTIs just a bit too seriously. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is why you're an INTJ, or this is why you're an INFP, or this is why you are an ESTP, you know. Like, I don't know, like, it's just fun, right? I don't know, is it just me? Like, I think it's a really fun topic to talk about, and there's quite a lot of Korean YouTubers that talk about MBTI, but I don't think MBTI is a huge thing in the Western world. I don't know why. It came from the Western world, but it's more famous and well known in Korea. Like, why? I don't know. Like, I don't know, we pick up on really weird things sometimes, like us Koreans, to be honest. But because you have to do a test, a 10-minute test to find out your MBTI, you know, it's not something that just randomly assigns you like some 4 letters. It's actually pretty relevant, and I think for a lot of people, if you have strong traits of each of those letters, they represent something, of course, then you're more likely to fit in those traits, right? Like, it's quite interesting. So we'll kind of go over that, but also today we're going to focus on my one, which is ESFJ, console. You know, as mentioned, personalities is not very discrete. We kind of have a big spectrum of personalities, let's say. So the ESFJ is not like 100% E, 100% S, 100% F, and 100% J. It's got different percentages and stuff like that. So, you know, mine's all over the place sometimes. And like, I'm a strong J and I'm a strong F, but I might not be a strong E and an S, you know, those kind of things. So remember, it's just for fun, guys. If you're not like familiar with MBTI, just use this video as a bridge to the new world. And if you know your MBTIs, you know, it'll be more interesting to kind of do an icebreaker with the Korean, because most likely they will know their MBTIs and you can start having a conversation around it. So let's get into the computer and go straight into it. The ESFJ. Wow. I just logged on to my 16 personalities account and it shows me my most recent results, which is an assertive console. Also means extroverted, observant, feeling, judging, and assertive. You know, it's pretty nice because I don't think they used to have accounts, but now they do, and it stores it for you instead of you trying to look for it through your email box. So it's pretty convenient. So going through the percentages real quick before we go to a second tab where it will give us a summarized version of an ESFJ, because the one on the official site is just a bit too long, too many pages, too many things to read. So we'll just go over to this tab after. But I'm 67% extroverted. It used to be around 80 to 90% extroverted. I used to be very, very extroverted and love hanging out with people, and that's just how I used to recharge my fatigue in life, I guess, or when I'm sad I had to meet people, so on so on. Nowadays I'm quite half. Sometimes I really want to meet people, but sometimes I really want to just stay by myself and enjoy my time alone in my room and doing things like watching Netflix or YouTube or listening to music, singing by myself, whatever, you know. So it's a bit more balanced now, but yeah, I am still more extroverted, but I think I choose to be introverted outside unless I need to be extroverted. So if there are other extroverts around me outside, I tend to stay pretty quiet unless they are talking to me. Then I can also be, you know, extroverted with them. But if that's not the case, I tend to stay quiet. So that's that. The energy side, I'm observant. The other opposite side of observant is intuitive. So basically that's the S in the ESFJ. Now, observant is pretty much down to earth, realistic, where intuitive is like more open-minded, creative. Like, for example, like, you know, N's might think about things that just has no chance of occurring, but they're just like, oh, what if the sky falls? Like, what happens after death? Those kind of things, like, they talk about things that might not make sense logically. And it's just, I don't know, like, you're like, as an observant person, as a realistic person, you'll be like, why are you thinking about that? Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, why? It's like, it's a sunny day and you're like, oh, I think it's gonna rain, should I bring an umbrella? Forecast, you know, as an observant person, as an S, I'll be like, forecast says no chance of raining, it's sunny with no clouds, it's not gonna rain, come on, like, seriously? Like, that's the difference between it. So I'm 54% observant apparently. I think I'm a bit more observant. I'm very realistic, to be honest, but maybe I do have a, you know, creative, open-minded side as well. Still not sure, but that's just how it is there. Nature, feeling based. So there's thinking or feeling. I'm definitely more feeling based. So I'm very emotional. Not in a bad way, but in a good way, I think. Like, pretty well controlled. I control my emotions pretty well, unless I go through like a really bad breakup. That's probably like the only time I kind of lose it. But generally speaking, I think I handle things very well. I'm very emotional. I love connecting with people emotionally. That emotional connection is what really bonds me with other people, with my close friends and my best friends as well. I kind of tend to follow my heart when I make really important decisions rather than my head, because sometimes, you know, most of the time, let's say my head and my heart says the same thing, so it's an easy call there, where sometimes I'm like, oh, my head says no, but something tells me, like my heart tells me it's gonna be a yes, so I should follow that. So I normally go with my heart at that point. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I just work that way. At work, I might be a bit more cutthroat, I might be a bit more T-like, but generally outside of work, I am very F, very feeling based, very emotional, in a good way. The last one of the main four is the judging. So you are either judging or prospecting. Now, judging pretty much means you love scheduling things, you know, you like to be organized, decisive, thorough, those kind of things. I'm very schedule based. Like I have reminders for everything. I use calendars fully. Like if I'm gonna go traveling, no matter how long it is, I need Excel sheets. If no one is going to plan anything, I have to plan something. If I am the main organizer, I make Excel sheets. So this one right here, as you can see, this Queenstown one, I'm currently making because I will be going to Queenstown pretty soon in late September. I'm making an Excel sheet with my friend and we're putting all the flights, you know, all the things we need to buy, things like that. Let's see if I can open it. So as you can see here, you can see the flight, when we're going, when we're coming back, how much it costs, you know, like a calendar of when we're going, when we're going back, you know, when we're on the snow and whatnot, what we need to buy, all the links to it, all the other things we need to book, like accommodation, ski pass, board hires and whatnot, and all the links for that as well, things to bring, you know, have to have a checklist. Also how much my friend needs to pay for, because I'm paying for everything right now, you know, those kind of things, right? Like I make these Excel sheets pretty much every time I go traveling, especially if no one else is planning anything. So I just feel better that way, so that's why I do it. So yeah, it is quite interesting, but that's just how I run. So yeah, 88%, that's pretty high. Apparently I'm assertive as well, so I'm likely self-assured, even-tempered and resistant to stress and refusing to worry too much. I think that could be a bit like it really depends on my mental state. If my mental health is not really doing well, then I tend to be a bit more turbulent, but apparently I'm a bit more assertive now where I'm resistant to stress. But if I struggle mentally, like you can tell I am very like emotional, conflicted and stressed like every day. Like you can see it on my face. Like it's pretty easy. So going over to the thing here, ESFJ, the caregiver, also known as the consul, you know, going to go over the key characteristics, which enjoy helping others. I love helping people. Like I did tutoring for quite some time, since year 13 till end of uni, to teach people, you know, students, especially with the NCAs in Cambridge for math and sciences. I used to go to them more than my lectures, to be honest, at one point, especially in my first year. I think it was just more fulfilling. I think like I love helping other people. I think the happiness is at least double when I can help other people succeed rather than when I succeed. I don't know if that's a weird thing, but I love it when people around me do really well. Like I genuinely like congratulate them. Like, and there's people be like, oh, why? Like, why is your success not on top of others? Like, it's not that my success is not, you know, important. It's just that I just feel better if I can help other people, you know, succeed. I don't know, like I don't know what it is, but it's just that. So apparently I need approval. Yep, need approval. If no one acknowledges me, then it's kind of sad. I did learn how to self-acknowledge myself and be like, oh, I'm doing a good job. I don't need other people to approve it, but it would be really nice to, you know, I need some kind of approval, whether it's coming from myself or other people. It definitely feels better when it's coming from other people. So that's that. Expect their kind and giving ways to be noticed and appreciated by others. Yeah, I think I don't really expect anything back from them, but if they acknowledge it, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have too high hopes of people returning the favor or something like that. So that's quite true as well. Be sensitive to the needs and feelings of others. That's very true. I tend to be very sensitive around how people are feeling, you know, especially in situations. If there's conflict, I try to be the peacemaker and try to kind of, you know, calm things down. I don't like conflict. So yeah, that is definitely a pretty good point. So yeah, I'm very sensitive and I try to be very observant and try to put out the fires when there's social conflicts and whatnot. Be good at responding and providing the care that people need. That is true. I love helping people, so it kind of extends to that. So if people need my care, then I'm really great at, you know, going over and helping them out. You know, it's something I really like to do in general. Want to be liked by others. That is very true. Yeah. If people don't like me. It is kind of sad. I think I learned that not everyone could like me, so I do know that not everyone will like me, but I do prefer people liking me than not. It's not that I can just not care about, because it is very important of how people view me. So yeah, I think that's pretty true. Get easily hurt by unkindness or indifference. Unkindness, yes. Indifference, could be either, but yeah, I do get hurt pretty easily. Once again, as I grow older and as I worked, I learned how to deal with these kind of things. But yeah, it still does hurt. It's just that I know how to deal with it, so it doesn't impact me too much. But yeah, it does initially hurt me quite a lot. They derive their value system from external sources, including the community at large, rather than from intrinsic ethical moral guidelines. That is true. It's definitely comes from external sources rather than internal. ESFJs raised with high values and standards tend to grow up to be generous adults. I'm pretty generous, I think. Strong desire to exert control over the environment. That is kind of true. I don't think I'm controlling over the environment, but I like to be in charge sometimes. Naturally geared towards understanding other people. They are careful observers of others and adept at supporting and bringing out the best in people. So because they are so good at helping others feel good about themselves, people drawn to ESFJ. So yeah, I guess that is somewhat true. Yeah, I think I tend to be very empathetic. Even though I have not experienced something like of whatever my friend's telling me, I could kind of think in their shoes and kind of simulate how they would be feeling right now, so on like that. I don't know. I would call it a special skill of us ESFJs, or Fs in general, I think, as well. It's not something that a lot of people can do sometimes, and I'm pretty happy that I have this kind of skill. So, strengths: kind and loyal, outgoing, organized, practical and dependable. Sure. Enjoy helping others and conscientious. My pronunciation. Weaknesses: needy, approval seeking, sensitive to criticism, dislike change, intolerant, controlling. Okay, let's address some things. Needy? Not quite. I don't think I'm needy, but I don't like to be just thrown out and like no one taking care of me, especially like in a relationship. I don't think I'm needy, but there are times I could be, but it's not my default, I think. So it's kind of weird saying like I'm always needy. I don't think I am. Approval seeking? Sure, I think I have to agree to that. Sensitive to criticism? Yeah, sure, but I know how to deal with it, so that's fine. Dislike change? I think it really depends on what kind of change. I like to change my environment so often. Like, for example, I changed my job every year or so till now in the past 5 years, just because I needed more challenge and stuff like that, and I really love change in environment. So I don't know, like, I don't dislike change, but if you're changing something that's already working for me and it's working really well, and we kind of come to a point where like that is the solution, and if you try to change that, I'll be like, why are you doing that? Like, why? Like, just help me understand this logical process. Like, why are you trying to change something? If it's not that, that's okay. Intolerant and controlling? I don't think I'm intolerant. I think I'm pretty tolerant. Controlling, I could be, but not in a bad way. Only if I need to be controlling, I do take control. If not, I'm totally fine not taking control. Like, as long as the person taking control of the group or whatever, the team, as long as they know what they're doing, I'm pretty fine being hands off with that. ESFJs love spending time with other people. Not only do they gain energy from social interactions, but they are also genuinely interested in well-being of others. Sure, that's also very true. Warm-hearted and empathetic. I believe I am. I don't know. Like, I think I am. ESFJ is well suited to positions that involve managing or supervising people. I think I've heard from few people in the past that I would make a really good manager. Could be the case. Something I am kind of working towards in my career. I wouldn't say managing people, but supporting people. Like, I think that's like the new term nowadays in tech, in the tech industry. We have tech leads or managers. They don't manage people, but just supporting the team members. Let's put it that way. Let's say we're not a boss. We're like leaders, let's say. Yeah. So career paths, caregiver role, so taking care of people. So these kind of roles like childcare, nursing, teaching. I did want to be a teacher for quite some time. Like I realized that I have to do a PhD if I want to become a lecturer. So I just, I hate research. I didn't like fourth year of university. So I'd rather work for my life than research and teach. So I kind of threw that out the window. But yeah, ESFJs can be selfless. I think we can be selfless. Yeah, sometimes, like not all the time, but yeah, I think generally speaking, we're pretty selfless, especially in friendships and relationships. Some people might feel a bit pressured that way. Some people might like it. It kind of depends on how you look at it, but I think it's a pretty good trait, to be honest. We're people-focused people here. I think it is pretty nice to be a people-focused person in general. They tend to avoid relationships where they might face a great deal of conflict or criticism. That is pretty true. Like, I do not want to deal with people that I have to fight all the time. Like, I just don't want to deal with it because I'm a peacemaker. If you're gonna argue with me all the time, let's just not. Like, I'm an easygoing person. Talk about relationships, devoted, supportive, and loyal. That's just me. Girls, call me 021. They are not interested in casual relationships. That is so true. Like these one night stands and stuff, I cannot do. It's either all in or I'm not even gonna start it. Like I hate casual relationships. If I meet someone, be like, oh, I want a casual relationship, I'll be like, okay, let me just get out the door, Yeah, just not my thing. Nice. And I love long-term commitments. Like, if you're not gonna get with me for long-term commitments, most likely marriage, it's probably not gonna work out. We like honest people who are open with their emotions. If you are going to keep your emotions and the words to yourself and not talk about them, yeah, it's just not gonna work. Because I'm very talkative. Communication is key for me for any relationship, even for friendships, and even more for a relationship. If you cannot communicate how you're feeling and if you're not honest about them, I don't think it's gonna be a great relationship. Because I'm pretty high up on the feeling side as well, if you are going to be lying about your feelings or all that kind of stuff, then you're gonna hurt my feelings someday. It's kind of sad. In addition, they value closeness, intimacy, and long-term commitments. So yeah, apparently that's pretty much it. Parenting, let's not go into it. It's been a long night. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good overview of ESFJs. I think later on I will try to go through other things and which MBTIs I don't match with and stuff like that. So compatibility might be an interesting topic to talk about in the future as well. So yeah, let me get off the computer and wrap this up. Wata! Wow. Just remember, I started this series just for fun, guys. I love talking about MBTI. It's just fun to look into people's personalities and kind of talk about it. What fits, what doesn't, what kind of person are you, what kind of person am I? How do we bond, how do we not? Those kind of things. It's fun to explore these kind of things. And maybe because I'm such a feeling-based person, I really love vibing with someone. Like, emotional connection is very important for me, and this is a great way to kind of get the conversation starting for me. So it's something I really want to keep going and make some videos in the future as well. Maybe in the long future, like if I have my own studio, I would love to like invite people like my friends or anyone I know around me to my studio, talk about our MBTIs and go over their traits and do a bit of a balance game of like, would you rather pick this over this, or no, those kind of things, and how their answers differ from mine and differ from other people with different MBTIs and all those kind of things. I have so much content I really want to make, and it's something that English speaking YouTubers don't really make many videos about. It's definitely a hotter topic for Korean YouTubers in general, but you know, it's just something I really wanted to try. So those are things I really want to, you know, make in the future. So give me a call or message if you are interested in that. And yeah, that wraps up the video. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up, put a comment down below what you thought. If you haven't subscribed to my channel. If you haven't got my notifications, you probably didn't put the bell notification, so click on that for my next updates, and I will catch you in the next video. Until next time, cheerio. Bye.